This is a first-person shooter game that I built yesterday. It's a single HTML file just to test the styling and functioning capabilities of the model. So check this out. So we just got that guy. I can switch to an RPG, and I can launch an RPG. So I just got that guy with an RPG. Claude Opus 4.7 is complicated. I've never seen a model get this big of a mixed reaction from the public after an initial launch. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down everything that you need to know about this model. I'm going to be talking about benchmarks, but I'm also going to be showing you guys what I built after 12 hours of using it in my real vibe coding workflow from when it launched yesterday at 10:30 to the video that you're watching today. I've been able to test this extensively, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys why I purchased 2 Claude Max subscriptions. I'm going to be sharing with you why I think that the model is benchmaxed, and I'm going to be sharing why I do think that this is now the best model in the world. And you may hear that and you're like, what? Benchmaxed, 2 Claude Max subscriptions, best model in the world. Help me understand that. I'm going to help you understand that, but there's a lot to dive into because there is a lot of mixed feelings about this model. And I think it starts here. And I want to share with you guys why it starts here. So when you look at the benchmarks, look at the agentic coding benchmarks right here. Okay, so you're looking at SweBench Pro and you're looking at SweBench Verified. So these benchmarks, when you look at them, you think, oh my gosh, 53.4% Opus 4.6 to 64.3% Opus 4.7, that looks like a monumental leap on paper, right? You look at that and you're like, wow, this model is a huge leap in capability, right? And that's what I thought too. If you guys watched my stream yesterday, I was very enthusiastic when I first saw these benchmarks because 87.6% on SweBench Verified, this puts it far ahead of any model on the frontier. But I do think that this model is benchmaxed. I think that Anthropic did something because look at this here. This is the BridgeMind vibe coding community, which is the home of the vibe coding movement. 605 people voted, and 75% of that 605 think that Claude Opus 4.7 is benchmaxed. And the reason that people are voting and thinking like this is because when you look at these benchmarks, you're like, oh my gosh, you would expect this thing to be just like one-shotting everything, right? And that's actually not what we're seeing. We're not seeing this one-shot everything. And what it feels like when you use it, it actually feels like an incremental improvement rather than a massive leap in capability. But I'm going to be breaking down in this video and showing you what I built, showing you some of these benchmarks and talking to you why I think that this actually is the best model in the world. But I'm also going to be talking about why I think that OpenAI now actually has an opportunity to surpass Claude Opus 4.7 with GPT 5.5. So with that being said, let's dive in. If you guys haven't already liked, I have a 300 like goal on this video. And if you haven't already subscribed and turned on post notifications, make sure you do so. BridgeMind is the home of the vibe coding movement. There's a link in the pinned comment to our Discord community with over 8,300 builders. But with that being said, let's get right into breaking this down. The first thing that I want to show you guys is this first-person shooter game that I built yesterday. So check this out. So this is Shadow Protocol. This is a first-person shooter game that I built yesterday. It's a single HTML file just to test the styling and functioning capabilities of the model. So check this out. So we just got that guy. I can switch to an RPG, and I can launch an RPG. So I just got that guy with an RPG. There's effects, there's animations. So the thing that you guys are seeing here is like, yeah, this is pretty impressive, right? Like, let's see this. Is there splash damage? Yep. So it's like, that's very impressive. And this is one thing that you look at and you're like, wow, okay, this is a new level of capability. I was using Claude Opus 4.7 Max with this, which is one of the new modes. So let's escape out of this. And I do want to pull up Bridge Space and show you guys the different capabilities of the model. So there's now different modes and effort levels inside of Claude Opus 4.7. So look at this. If you look down here, what you're going to see is you now have the ability to choose between low, medium, high, extra high, and max. And max is like a little bit overkill, okay? So max, you're gonna run through your limit and your usage very, very quickly with this. It's also incredibly, incredibly slow. And I was using it a lot yesterday, and sometimes the actual output it was not worth it for the usage limits as well as how long it took to get to the output. But what I'm seeing here is that with Opus 4.7, this model, they even said that this model will use 35% more tokens. Okay, this model, you will hit your rate limits 35% faster than you did with Opus 4.6 if you just have it in the normal mode. Okay, and even one example of this from this morning is I entered 3 prompts, okay, and I was at 13% usage. And this is the reason that I bought 2 Max subscriptions, okay? Like when I look at the model, when I use it, I'm like, okay, this is the best model now, okay? But the usage on it is like very, that's why people are upset, because you hit your rate limits even faster. And the thing is that rate limits already are a problem with Claude Opus 4.6. Now you're going to hit them 35% faster. And inside Claude Code, you don't even have the ability to default back to Opus 4.6. They're just offering you Opus 4.7. The next thing I want to share with you guys is this marketing video that I created with Opus 4.7. So watch this video. So this was created using Remotion and Claude Opus 4.7. And I basically told it, hey, I want you to take a look at BridgeCode, which is launching next Wednesday. And I want you to create a marketing video that has a realistic view, like a realistic marketing video of what BridgeCode actually looks like, how it functions, cover the basic features, make it really modern and professional, right? I did this on stream. So it breaks down the Teams functionality, which is a great feature of BridgeCode. So it picked up on that feature and it knew, okay, let's include that. It also picked up on the ability to orchestrate sub-agents with each other, and it picked up on that, and it built this. And remember, I didn't tell it to do any of this, right? It literally just looked at the project and it said, okay, let's create a marketing video. It picked up on the swarm mode. So it picked up on these things intuitively and was able to create a really well-designed, what is this, 30, 60-second video for BridgeCode, which is launching next Wednesday. And I'm very impressed with this. It did a fantastic job, because Opus 4.6 was creating this like bad styling. It wasn't really doing that great of a job, but that was the marketing video that we created using Opus 4.7. And I think that one reason that people are saying that this model is benchmarked is the next thing that I want to cover, because I also agree that this model is benchmaxed. Because when you think about benchmaxing, what is benchmaxing, right? What it means is that somehow they trained the model to do particularly well on benchmarks that they then show to the public, right? So when you, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, when you look at these benchmarks, you're like, oh my gosh, we've got AGI. But BridgeBench tells a different story, and this is why BridgeBench is the #1 vibe coding benchmark in the world, because we pick up on not only the overall, like SweetBench Pro 64%, we pick up on how the model performs in different subcategories of vibe coding. And one thing that is very interesting about this model is the security of the model. Look at this, chat. Okay, if I just do a screenshot real quick, I'm going to highlight some things to you, okay? So this is the security benchmark. Here's Claude Opus 4.6, and look at this. Claude Opus 4.7 performs worse on this benchmark. It performs worse, and Anthropic actually acknowledged this. They said, by the way, it's not as good at cybersecurity. And this is very interesting, because even though the model got better, it didn't get better across all categories. And this is one of the first times we've actually seen this, is that they released a model that actually can perform significantly worse. This is a significant reduction in security. Look at this. You're going from 81.6 to 76. That's pretty significant, guys. So this is one reason why people are not a big fan of the model, is that it's actually not performing better in some very important categories, security being one of them. You can also look at other benchmarks like Hallucination. If we look at the Hallucination benchmark, where is this in this benchmark? Check this out. So then this, for example, is one area where I would say, hey, you have to pay close attention to this Hallucination benchmark, because look at this. Claude Opus 4.6 is all the way down here at number 11, but with Hallucination, it actually saw a significant jump on this Hallucination benchmark, which is a very important benchmark. It was able to go from 11 to number 4, 73 to 77. So that's one area, one category where you can say, okay, this model hallucinates significantly less, which has been verified by other benchmarks as well. Another way that this model actually improved is in speed. So Grok 4.2 basically owns speed benchmarks, but look at this. If we go down a little bit, Claude Opus 4.7 is actually faster than Claude Sonnet 4.6. You have an Opus model that's now faster than a Sonnet model. Like I said, look, here's Opus 4.6. And Opus 4.7 is up here on this benchmark. It's performing about 20 tokens per second, a little bit more than that on this benchmark. And it's even faster than Sonnet 4.6. So you're like, okay, the speed increase is also very nice. That's a big jump in speed, which speed is very important when you're vibe coding. So that's great. But one issue that I have with the model is that with UI, it actually got a little bit worse in some UI categories. So look at this. So if we look at this model, I think I actually have an X post on this that I want to show you guys. So this one here is like one category where you would say, okay, like it did, and UI is subjective, right? UI is always subjective. You know, people will say, oh, it did so much better, but this is the lava lamp test. Okay, so you can see Claude Opus 4.7 here, Claude Opus 4.6 here. You can see the Claude Opus 4.6, it didn't really have the visual reasoning to pick up, like, this is a little bit fast for the lava lamp, but it actually, like, if you actually use a lava lamp or you have a lava lamp, this is actually how they kind of like function, right? And Claude Opus 4.6 didn't really pick up on that. It also is kind of just like, I mean, like, this is, you can look at this and you can say, okay, this is an improvement. But then there's also, if you guys go to BridgeBench, you can see all the benchmarks. There's other benchmarks where it definitely didn't do as well. Like, for example, if we look at Space Invaders, Claude Opus 4.6 created a really cool Space Invaders game. Actually, you guys can be the judges on this one. I think that UI is just so subjective. So this is the Space Invaders game for Claude Opus 4.6, right? And now let's go back and let's go to the Claude Opus 4.7 benchmark and see what that one looks like. So let's pull this one up. Where is Claude Opus 4.7? It's right here. So this is what Claude Opus 4.7 created, and it's much different. So this one is like, it doesn't show like the effect of how many points you're getting. It's definitely different, right? It took a different approach. Now, the prompt is to create a retro Space Invaders game. So you have to make the decision for yourself is, okay, did Opus 4.7 emphasize and pick up on the fact that the prompt was retro and it made it like super retro, right? So that you have to ask yourself that question. But on that UI benchmark, it was actually graded worse than Claude Opus 4.6 by about 2.7 points. 2.7 points, which is something that you need to look at. So this is a big thing that you guys need to understand is that just because, and this is why we have BridgeBench, just because a model performs better overall on SWE-Bench Pro or SWE-Bench Verified, it doesn't mean that it performs better across the board in all of these different subcategories. That's why you have multiple subscriptions to OpenAI or Claude, is that these models are better at different things. And we're seeing that with Claude Opus 4.7. And even with the iteration between Opus 4.6 and Opus 4.7, we're seeing, yeah, this model actually performs better in some instances, like for refactoring. Opus 4.7, you can see Opus 4.7 is way better at refactoring. This one dominates refactoring. It had a jump of over 5 here for refactoring from Opus 4.6 to Opus 4.7. But in other areas, like security, it's actually performing worse. So that's one thing that you guys need to understand is that when a new model comes out, you can't expect it to perform better across all categories. And the thing is why people are saying that this is benchmax is because that's what the benchmarks say, right? They say, hey, this model is like not as good in these ways. And it's true, it's not. With reasoning, it actually is better at reasoning. So we'll kind of let's dive in a little bit deeper. I'm going to show you guys a couple more things that I created with BridgeCode yesterday, and then I'll show you guys some more benchmarks. But overall, what you're seeing is this is why we're getting the mixed reactions with Claude Opus 4.7 is because the benchmarks that Claude released, they tell a different story than what we're seeing, right? And when you use the model, it's telling a different story. And when you look at BridgeBench, it's telling a different story. So that's why people are upset. But let's dive a little bit deeper and go into a couple more things that I built yesterday with it. One of the first things that I had Claude Opus 4.7 do is I had it redesign the landing page of BridgeMind. So what's cool is that I haven't yet deployed this to production. So on the right, you can see the current BridgeMind.ai website, and then on the left, you can see just the local host that we have locally on the machine. So what you can see here is that let's just kind of navigate both, right? So let's kind of scroll down. I'm going to show you guys this one first. I'll let you guys make the decision on this. So the toolkit, bridge space, your vibe coding command center, bridge voice, speak your intent, ship the product. Kind of basic, right? Like you have a little bit of a basic. I'm not gonna change your guys' opinion on this at all. But here's BridgeCode. Here's the styling for BridgeCode. You have like missing things here. Do you notice how this is just missing? We'll see if this is able to fix it. Here's the pricing, and here's everything. Okay, so you guys can make your own decisions on this. And then here is what Claude Opus 4.7 did in the redesign. So you have like one of these animations to show how big the BridgeMind vibe coding community is. Here is what it did. Look at these animations that it created. So Bridge Voice, it literally created this like refactor this component, and it showed like a cool card here, and it even has like, look at the effects on this, right? Look at the effects. That's very unique. I like how it did it in like a grid system. Like this is kind of like how you would do an enterprise grade. Like, because if you go over here and you look at what that section was previously, right? You could compare it to, what is it? There was the top section. So you could compare it to this one, right? So this is what was there before. 4 products, 1 workflow. This is basically that component reimagined. And you're like, okay, look at this. I mean, this is, so on the right, Opus 4.6, on the left, Opus 4.7. That's pretty good, right? So I'm impressed with that. This here, just more graphic, unique components. Really impressed there. From prompt to production, same thing. You have these really nice hover effects in the background, really cool animations, and it's just unique, right? And I think that what a lot of people say is they have issues with UI, being AI slop UI, but this is like, okay, it's creating these animations that are actually like really nice visually, right? Bridge voice, speak your intent, ship the product. Like, nice work. It cleaned up like those missing areas. Again, look at this animation. Like, pretty cool. You know what I mean? It's like this one, a nice card animation, and this is more of just a enterprise grade website. This does not look like AI slop. Here's the bridge code. It literally shows another animation, really nice animations as you scroll down, more animations. It does hover effects here. So this was in one shot, and I literally just said, hey, go do this, and it did it. Here's the rework here, more like, rendering in animations, very good. Here's some of the reviews on the product, very good there. Simple. Here's the pricing section, so very good there. This is impressive, guys. This is impressive, and you can see the improvements in the UI. Okay, so you have to give it to it and say, okay, that is a substantial improvement, especially for a one shot to just say, hey, go reimagine this. Another example would be, for example, I had it redesign like the Discord community page. So if we go here, this would be another example. So join the official BridgeMind Discord, and this is like, it had it improved the button. This, you can see how it like was hardly readable here. Do you see how the movement is kind of like cut off? So you're looking at that and you're like, okay, like this actually did do a better job. And that's why I say, hey, this is now the best model in the world for anybody out there that's saying, oh, Opus 4.6 or Opus 4.7 is Opus 4.6 in disguise. It's like, okay, like, get over yourself a little bit. But the issue with the model that people are having, that I have as well, is that this is not the giant leap that the benchmarks are suggesting. This is a iteration. It's an improvement, and yes, it's a nice improvement, and we'll go look at the artificial analysis benchmarks as well. But this is not like the massive leap that the benchmarks would suggest. But let's take a look at artificial analysis and break down that benchmark as well to see how it performs on that benchmark. Okay, there are 2 benchmarks that I definitely want to cover here. It's the coding index benchmark. So if you guys look at this, you can see, let's just do a screenshot real quick and I'll highlight a few things. So look at this, very interesting. So you have GPT 5.4 right here, and you have Opus 4.7 right here. And look at this, so you have 53 and 57, okay? So you can see here that on the coding index here for artificial analysis, GPT 5.4 actually still outperforms Opus 4.7, which is why at the start of the video, I looked at this and I was like, man, look at this iteration. So you have it going from 43 to 53, which is, this is Opus 4.6. So 48 to 53. But it's still, this 53 is not even close to GPT 5.4. And that's one thing that you're like, you look at that and you're like, oh, wow, that's interesting, right? But I think to get the full picture, look at the agentic index. Opus 4.7 is the best model on this benchmark, 70, okay? And this represents the average of agentic capabilities. So that's definitely something that you want to understand. But another benchmark on this benchmark that I think is incredibly important is, where is it? It's the hallucination benchmark. I looked at it a little bit before. I think it's at the bottom here. Here it is. It's this one right here. So look at this benchmark, chat. So you've got Opus 4.7, which is right, where is it? Oh yeah, right here. Okay. It's all the way at the bottom here. All right. Opus 4.7 at 36% hallucination on this benchmark. It has a very low hallucination rate compared to Opus 4.6. Look at this, 61% hallucination on this benchmark. You look at Opus 4.7, you're like, whoa, that like got almost cut in half to 36. And that's why I bought 2 Max subscriptions, which is, okay, people need to understand that this model is going to hallucinate a lot less, because when you look at GPT 5.4 high, look at this, 88% hallucination rate. And when you look at hallucination, that's one of the biggest issues with AI models today is their hallucination rate. So this is one of the most important benchmarks to look at is hallucination rate, because it is a lot better in hallucination. And that's one thing that when you look at it, you're like, okay, yes, GPT 5.4 may do better on that coding index, but is it going to be hallucinating all over the place and breaking production code? Potentially, because it's going to hallucinate, right? At 88.64%. But this one, 36%. Like, that's a big, you're going to feel that, right? And that's one thing that people need to know. So those are 2 benchmarks I just wanted to highlight from artificial analysis that are very important for you guys to understand. I now want to show you guys what it is that I was working on off stream yesterday, and you can already see a little bit of it here. I have 10 Claude Opus 4.7 subagents running here, and the findings that they have, you guys can see them, but it does pick up on a lot of findings. But the other agents that you're looking at here on the left and then on the right, these are BridgeCode agents. So what you guys can see here is, let's expand this. This is BridgeCode. This is a vibe coding agent from BridgeMind that is a vibe coding agent for the terminal. And what I want to show you guys is this is now fully functional and ready to be deployed on next Wednesday. And I can switch to any provider I want. I'm going to use GPT 5.4 extra high because I can literally connect to this with my existing ChatGPT plan, which shout out to OpenAI for not cutting everybody off. But watch this. So I can literally paste in something, right? And one really cool thing that Claude Opus 4.7 helps me build is this new teams mode. So literally I can create agent teams and then I can redeploy those agent teams whenever I want. So I have an agent team that is an AI Slop cleanup. I have one that's for API security vulnerability squad, a commenting squad, and an SEO squad. Let's just use the Slop cleanup and let's do BridgeMind UI. And I'm just going to use Bridge Voice and say, I want you to do a deep dive on BridgeMind UI and identify any Slop code and help me list out all of your findings and create a structured implementation plan to fix any AI Slop code that you find. So we're going to submit this, and it's going to submit with that agent team. So you can see over here, I actually launched another agent team. This launched a SEO team over here. And this one, you can see Teams SEO. This is the SEO squad. So it's actually improving the SEO of my website. And this one now is launching the AI Slop cleanup team. And it's actually working inside of BridgeMind UI to be able to launch sub-agents that all work together as a team to identify any AI Slop code. And you can see here now that I did launch these 10 Claude Opus 4.7 agents that are now finding some improvements that we could make to the agent harness. And after the stream, this is what was the deciding factor for me. Claude Opus 4.7 was able to do an absolutely phenomenal job in actually helping me improve BridgeCode. I've been working on this for about a week now, and it was able to help me make improvements to the harness that I've been now seeing come to life when I'm actually using BridgeCode. So look at this. So we now have one agent that's doing an audit, one that's assessing, and there's going to be a couple more that launch as well. But there's now a plan mode. There's now the ability to reenact teams. You can also use skills. This is turning into a pretty impressive terminal agent. And look at this, a Slop Scout is what it has here. It just launched a Slop Scout. This one is the quality auditor. And this is becoming a very impressive tool. And Claude Opus 4.7 helped me build it. So I've been very impressed. Overall, I think that just to summarize, I think that, yes, to some extent, Claude Opus 4.7 was benchmarks. This is not the monumental leap that the benchmarks suggest. But when you look at things like the hallucination rate reduction, when you look at things like the speed increase, these things are making it better than Claude Opus 4.6. It's just that it comes at a cost, right? It comes at a 35% cost increase, which is terrible because the rate limits were already bad. And I think that, yeah, if you want to use Claude Opus 4.7, at least for my use case, I want to have multiple subscriptions because I'm streaming for I was on stream for 6 hours yesterday, right? And I hit my limit after 90 minutes. So for me, it makes the most sense to just say, hey, you know what? This is the best model in the world. Let's buy 2 subscriptions so that I don't get rate limited. And then we'll come back later on. And if they can make it better, or make it so that we don't get rate limited during those peak hours, maybe it's better. But you can see here, BridgeCode is functioning very well, and Claude Opus 4.7 helped me build this. And hey, at the end of the day, when you look at the trade-off between things like the hallucination rate and the coding capabilities and the speed and the harness of Claude Code, all of these different things, it's like, hey, I want to have 2 subscriptions because I don't want to get rate limited. So that's why we're seeing such mixed reactions because, hey, I have the budget to be able to spend $400 a month on 2 Claude subscriptions, but a lot of people don't, right? So for me, I see this and I'm like, hey, this is a great model, but the usage limits on it are very bad. Like even if we go to model now, or hold on, let's go to usage now and check on my usage, 22%. 22%. And this was just, I think at the start of the video, I showed you guys the extra 9% used came from just this chat, right? So I launched some sub agents and now all of a sudden I'm at 22% used. So you guys can see, yeah, it's expensive. And that's what a lot of people don't like. This is a complicated model release. But I hoped that this helped you guys understand the different trade-offs of the model and why people are reacting the way that they are. Because, yeah, I think that Anthropic did something with this release that certainly this is not the monumental leap that the benchmarks suggest, but this is an improvement. This is now the best coding model in the world, in my opinion. But with that said, I think that GPT 5.5, which I expect to release next week, could be better. And we'll need to keep an eye out for that model because, with GPT, the rate limits are way better with GPT, but only time will tell. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If it was, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And if you haven't already joined the BridgeMind Discord community, the home of the vibe coding movement, make sure you do so. There is a link in the pinned comment and in the description below. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the future.